Another one of these? I'm tired of this. It's what some of you were thinking when you saw this video. Probably. Maybe. Actually, no. I've only seen a lot of support in the comment sections of these kinds of videos. Oh, except if you're PewDiePie. Hey there, I'm Patch, and I did a thing. Time for a little story time. One day, Baby Patch existed in middle school. He was an average kid with no real aspirations or anything of the sort. And then a new kid transferred to the school. Now you see, him and Baby Patch didn't really get along until the kids started to talk about these weird cartoons called anime. Baby Patch was intrigued. Baby Patch got obsessed with anime. Naruto, Dragon Ball, 7 Deadly Frames, you name it. Then Baby Patch thought, yeah, I could do that. Thus began the greatest stickman grind to ever grind. And by that I mean I drew Heat Blast from Ben 10 one time, showed it to my classmates, got glazed, and got shown up by the kid in the class with actual drawing skill. Then went arts mid anyway, not like I wanted to draw or anything. So yeah, because of that I was assumed the ability to draw was something people were simply born with. I was just unlucky to be untalented, hence there was no point in wasting my time trying. I carried this mindset all the way to university until PewDiePie posted his 30-day drawing video. I felt inspired. You see, since high school, I'd been labeled as gloomy and depressing because of certain traits I exhibited. What the hell? Certain traits I exhibited. What the hell? I don't know why I'm struggling to say that word. A major trait being a general disinterest in anything and everything. However, the moment I finished watching his video, it reignited that urge to draw I had back in middle school. I picked up a notebook and a pen and drew like I'd never drawn before. It felt amazing. I was on cloud 9, surfing the clouds like that one high school teacher on crack. I see you, Mr. Jones. By the time I realized it was nighttime, I decided to show what I'd done to an artist friend of mine, and his response was, yeah, decent. Decent? Even I could tell he didn't want to hurt my feelings. I mean, look at these. They're all so criminally bad. So guess what I did? No, I didn't keep drawing. What the hell made you think that? Oh, right. Well, I stopped drawing in general and decided to just wallow in my self-pity, allowing myself to think PewDiePie was always this good and was faking it for views and clout. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't depressed, I was just lazy. No way in hell was I ever going to be consistent enough with drawing to ever get that good. Then, a few months later, PewDiePie dropped another video. He drew for 100 days. And even though I didn't have the ability to draw or the technical know-how, the art improvement I noticed was something I realized you couldn't fake. Once more, a fire was lit up inside me. However, this time, now that I had confirmed I was simply a lazy bum, I decided to look up ways to overcome laziness. One of them was to create a way to keep yourself accountable. And what better way to keep yourself accountable than to say to a crowd of strangers that you do something and run the serious risk of embarrassing yourself in front of said crowd, right? So yeah, so I made a TikTok. To be honest, starting out for me was the easy part, because now I had a reason to keep doing it. There was no way I was going to embarrass myself in front of the 5 people who gave me pity subs and weren't even going to be looking at my actual content consistently. I like to call this the pseudo learning stage.
Why? Because, well, I didn't like to sit down to watch videos that taught me how to do the thing it was that I wanted to do.
I'd watch a video once and freestyle it for a day or two until I found myself struggling with something else and looking up another video on how to fix that. This, I would say now, is actually kind of a good way for me to remember how to draw certain body parts. But I wasn't aware enough to actually properly use that method to learn back then. Should I have been focusing on learning how to draw shapes and gestures to actually improve? Yeah, but did I know that? Yeah, I did. But like Mouse, I looked at countless YouTube videos trying to help me and went,
nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Rather, I decided to draw one body part a day, thinking that my skill would improve rapidly. These art YouTubers with countless years of experience definitely didn't know what they were talking about when they said that was a bad idea, right? As you could figure, I didn't really develop much thanks to that. My lack of proper structure caused my drawings to not really improve by the end of the first week. Actually, they did, but not to the extent I was expecting. Because of that, I ramped up the learning. At the time, I was watching Chomang. His videos were simple and really easy to follow along, and even better, the results always looked really good. His results, not mine. Mine were bad. Over time, with more dedicated practice and mixing in drawing or fan art or stuff I really enjoyed, my art did start to improve. And before I realized, it was day 30. It was time to see if drawing consistently for 30 days really had made me a Picasso level artist. The answer is no, it didn't. I wasn't even as good as PewDiePie by day 30. I was currently sitting at second grader level art talent while PewDiePie was practically an industry professional. I remember when I saw PewDiePie's day 30, I went, that looks so good. Why the hell couldn't I make something that good? Is PewDiePie cheating? Was he always good at art? No, he's rich, famous, and has a family. He doesn't need to do any of that. Maybe there's something wrong with my approach. Yeah, that's got to be it. And that started what I like to call, as you probably figured out from the ending of that section, I was maybe kinda a little bit obsessed with outdoing Pewds. Wait, Pewds? Can I call PewDiePie that? Pewds? Yeah, I don't know. Which actually helped me grow more. Don't get me wrong, it was a completely negative headspace I'd put myself in. But that drive to beat the guy who couldn't even care about me actually made me put in more effort into learning how to draw better. I intensified the hours I put into drawing and watching art tutorials, finishing up notebooks and sketchbooks, while shortening the effort I put into other things in my life. Of course, I'd still draw the stuff I personally fancied, but it was mostly me simply picking references at random and forcing myself to learn how stuff worked. I even swore to devote myself to learn how to draw the human head realistically. And I did this for maybe days 31 to 35 before completely switching to copying the art style of an illustrator whose art I'd been finding eye-catching, Mitzvah. Those illustrations all felt exciting and punkish, as if to say they rejected the conventional art rules, but still worked somehow. After a day or two of copying his art style, drawing with a pen directly mind you, I finally realized something. I wasn't looking for his style per se. I wanted to find my own totally cool, unconventional art style, which I completely forgot about because of my at the time obsession drawing directly with pens and no guidelines. Now, if you've been paying close attention to the video, you should have noticed a very odd and annoying trend. I could never stick to one thing for too long. Maybe typing TikTok brain, anti-spiral, skibidi toilet, sigma, riz, fake. What you should be taking away from it is I was out there experimenting with new things, trying to come up with solutions to problems before looking at the answers. Sure, because of this, there were a lot of frustrating moments, but it also made it easier to understand what exactly I was doing wrong and how to fix it. Sure, now that I look back on it, some of the stuff I drew really aren't anything impressive. But that good feeling I had when I looked at them was a great confidence booster. I carried this energy all the way to day 51 when I finally drew something I absolutely loved. I don't remember the name of this manga since at the time I drew this, it wasn't even out. I remember seeing a tease for it, but I randomly decided to draw this drunk demon girl and end up with something that made me feel so happy that all those days of frustration felt worth it. I used to just leave my notebook open conveniently on that page on my bed so anyone who entered my room would see it and glaze the fuck out of me, and I got the glaze cause I thought I deserved it. By this time, I'd long forgotten my one-sided beef with PewDiePie and would spend hours drawing, slowly destroying any strands of social life I still had. Before I knew it, we'd got into day 85. Then, a new problem arrived. Well, technically an old one. Boredom. I like to call it burnout then, but deep down, I knew it definitely wasn't that. I scaled a mountain of traditional art, and after drawing one image of a drunk monster girl, I knew I'd seen all there was to offer there. I needed to switch things up. So, with my infinite 40,000 IQ, I emptied my pockets to buy a graphic tablet. Please note, before you see any of the digital drawings for the first week, I had as much experience as a professional did. That being, My laptop is a touchscreen, so I bought a stylus and tried drawing with that. Terrible choice, by the way, wouldn't recommend. And my friend lent me his graphic tablet for a night. So yeah, lots of experience. Now, back to the video. By this point, I joined a Discord community. The artist who created it had this challenge where he'd give daily prompts, and it was our task to make a sketch within 30 minutes, then post for points. This was my first time in an art community, and I got to see tons of talented artists, but I never talked to any of them or asked for any advice. Why? Because I was intimidated by them and simply bad at communicating. However, what surprised me was that when I joined, I soon entered the top 3 in the rankings. Not because of skill or anything, but because I was far more likely to post than the majority of the more experienced members. I mean, look at some of these I drew. I still cringe when I see some of these and how bad they were. And it's embarrassing that for a moment I actually felt proud looking at any of these. When the ranking at the end of the month came out and with me at 3rd place, I didn't really feel happy. It felt like I got pity points. I really didn't deserve to be in there, so I didn't really put any focus in the Discord anymore. I looked to TikTok to feel better about my art, but there was no validation there either. On the contrary, posting on TikTok made me feel worse about my art. Sure, when I shared it, I'd get a few likes, but that was it. Something I'd spend 2 hours on would get only 15 likes and barely crack 200 views. At the time, there were some young beginner artists who were starting out. They wouldn't be as consistent as I was, but for some reason, their videos would blow up way more. It was at this point that I had a thought. Why am I doing this? It's not getting views or likes. Even when I put in my all, there was no point in joining anymore. At a point, I stopped posting daily and would only post stuff I felt looked impressive and would get me more likes, which didn't work. And before I realized, rather than posting daily reports on my developments, all I did was post weekly and eventually not at all. The desire to get validation drowned out my original goal of learning how to draw and made the whole ordeal simply feel insufferable. So I simply stopped and decided to end my attempt there. To any of you who are still watching this video, I sincerely thank you. And this part in particular is a bit tough for me to talk about because of how shallow it makes me come off. Writing the script for this video has taken multiple tries because I didn't want to include it. But for the main point of the video, I felt it was necessary. This part of the video includes art I never posted online. These projects were ones I shared only to friends. Spending hours only to practically get no views led me to developing a bad habit I'd heard a bunch of artists developed, attributing happiness to the amount of likes a work got. After I stopped posting on TikTok, I actually didn't draw anything at all for a week. I took a break and decided to simply cool down and get myself refreshed. I started to feel better, but there was this sense of emptiness inside me. Once more, I gave up on something I was interested in simply because it didn't feel worth it. I was regressing to that dark, uninteresting, lonely... Oh shit! I didn't draw for a week! When I was in school, drawing was all my friends would see me do in my free time. But now, when I was at home, with all the time in the world, I didn't want to anymore. I had to do something about it before it was too late. For some reason, no matter how hard I tried on my graphic tablet, nothing I drew felt quite right. So, I picked up a pencil and started to draw. Nothing I drew in that moment was particularly impressive, but I remember having so much fun drawing then. As time went on, I realized I wasn't drawing to please anyone but myself. I started to find a passion for art again. My drawings even started to look better, I think. I finally finished some of the art books I picked up. At the current moment, I'm reading through the Morpho series. It really helped me with the anatomy of the body. It was honestly the most fun I'd had since starting this journey. Before I realized, I'd lost count of how many days I'd been drawing because it really didn't matter. When PewDiePie first dropped this video, I thought, how about I make a video about me drawing for one entire year? I, the random young adult in university with zero editing skills, would definitely blow up way more than a guy with over 100 million subscribers, right? Until I saw a video that came out saying I drew for 365 days. I forget who the artist was, but ever since I saw that one, more of them started to pop up on my feed. 1000 days, 50 days, 2 years. So many people had already been thinking about this before me. I, the guy living under the rock, somehow didn't know about this. Then I saw a video by this guy called Gibbs. It was his first, and probably his last video. He drew for 100 days. The video had a surprising amount of high-level editing, and the progress shown through the video was simply absurd. But for some reason, even though he'd posted it over a year ago, it's only just now started to take off. As of the time of writing the script, it's sitting at 1.2k views. It'll probably be much higher after I edit this and finally post this video. When I saw that, it made me realize that this video might reach a total of 10 people in the next 10 years, regardless of whatever effort I put into making it stand out. Rather than waiting 20 years to post my video and blow up, I decided to make the video now, talking about my current experience. As of now, it's definitely been some days after day 200, probably approaching day 300, but like I said, I stopped counting. Drawing without a goal of X amount of days weighing down on me made it much easier and liberating. There's probably some of you wondering why I didn't talk more about the methods, softwares, exercises, and all that stuff I learned and used, but somewhere along the lines of writing the script originally, I felt it was better to show you my emotional and mental experience, and hopefully the kind of headspace you should try to avoid if you're tackling such a challenge. Also, I guess it's because I'm so bad at communicating, I couldn't really talk about how I felt during the past year with anyone, even if I wanted to do that. So, what can you take away from this video? 1. If you're taking on a challenge of learning art, make sure you're having fun. 2. It's okay to take breaks. Sometimes you just don't want to draw. It's best not to force yourself. 3. Don't compare your progress to anyone. Everyone says it, but improvement is not linear. There will always be some ups and downs. And finally, just do what makes you happy. I hope to make more videos talking about art and anything I find interesting concerning the niche. My name is Patch. Thanks for watching this video. Drink water and have a great day. And oh yeah, look forward to my I drew every day for 20 years video. Please leave a like and let me know what you think of my progress. Unless it's something negative, then just don't tell me. Peace.